Okay, good afternoon everyone and welcome to the STEM Lockdown Digital School. This is coding for grade 7 and I see at the moment we only have one person in here. Dee was here a second ago and then he disappeared, so there's back. Great. So it seems like we have a new student as well. So welcome if this is your first time. If this is your first time and you are feeling a bit lost, don't worry, you should be able to pick this up relatively quickly. Especially with somebody like D here, he really has this stuff down, so he understands it well, and that always helps. So before we get started, please, if you have any friends that are in grade 7 that would like something like this, invite them to go and register on the African Teen Geek website, and they can receive the notifications, and then they can join us in class here as well. And for those of you that might be watching the live stream over YouTube or other platforms, please do the same. Go and visit the Africa Teen Geeks website, register to receive the emails, and then you will receive these links to these classes. At the moment, they are absolutely free. So that's always nice. And then you can come and have a look at what you're doing and what we are doing. If you do not have a computer to code on or you don't know anything about coding, that's fine. Whatever you see here is knowledge that you learn that can never be taken away from you. So without further ado, I think we can get going. A couple of coding principles. Now this is the last time I'm going to show them to you. From next week we don't need to use the PowerPoint presentation anymore because I think then you have the basic ideas down. So the basics that we had for this week was we always start by solving the easiest problem first. And I saw it this morning when I did my class with the grade 4s as well. As soon as a problem becomes really big or the puzzle is very involved, it's much easier to break it down into smaller segments. And this is all a part of what we would call workflow. So the workflow is to identify the smaller, easier problems, do them first, and then carry on. And the same principle applies to this one. So we first want to create a sequence and test it if we are unsure. But this is actually whether you're unsure or not. Now, obviously, if you're just going to put one move forward block and that needs to go into a loop, you don't need to test a single move forward block because you already know what that is going to do. But once we start combining move forward blocks with perhaps another action block and turning blocks, then it's a good idea to create the sequence, test it out. Once you know it works, then we start looping everything. Okay, and then the last one says make sure you are using the correct amount of loops. So this becomes very important now. I showed you the other day these puzzles, if you don't use the right number of loops, they don't work, they make you fail. And the reason for that is, we had this discussion yesterday as well, there's a certain way of doing things that makes the programs run more easily or smoother or faster through the devices that needs to read the code. So especially in my line where I do coding for the internet and I create websites and I create products that people use for their businesses, in Google, if your page doesn't load in 7 seconds, then they penalize you. So 7 seconds is not a long time. So me as a coder, I want to make sure that the code that I'm writing to create a web page or website is going to load extremely fast. The faster it goes, the better, because I only have 7 seconds. So once it's longer than that, they penalize me. So that just goes to show how important it is that we're not wasting any code by making extra loops that aren't needed. Okay. Right, so we were supposed to start with conditionals in Minecraft, okay? But I'm telling you now, this puzzle 1 to 6, you'd probably be able to do that with your left hand on the mouse and your eyes closed. Okay, these are really easy. They get very difficult very quickly, but from 1 to 6, it's an easy solution. So I want to just take one step back and have a look at what we did yesterday, because we never finished yesterday's lesson, right? So I'm just going to put this link in the chat box for you all. Copy that there, paste that there. Now when we leave here after this lesson, if you save this link somewhere, so you're opening it now in your browser tab, you can copy it off of there and save it in a Word document, or just save it anyway that you see fit, or you can physically sit and write this down in your notebook, and then when you come to Google you type this in here, then you can come back to these puzzles, and from here you can navigate to all the other puzzles that we have. Okay, so you can navigate to these puzzles in this lesson number 12, or if you click here on lesson 12, I'm going to show you that you will have access to all of the other puzzles from the first lesson to the last lesson. Okay, so these links that we're giving you, that's okay, Ayanda, don't worry about it. These links that I'm giving you, it's not only for what we're doing here. I put a new link in there each time because then I know you're on the right puzzle. You can see the link says they're puzzle 11, lesson or stage 12. But if you really want to go afterwards and play around a bit, you're welcome to do that. And this is a segment that I created in code.org, and what I switched on the extras here. So you can see there are lesson extras. So what that means is, as long as you're accessing code.org through this link that I give you here, you can do all these extras. Now there are extras for almost every lesson, and we don't do them here in class because they're extras. They are there for you to go and take what we learn and practice here and go and play with that. Okay, so feel free to do that, especially over the weekend. Instead of playing normal video games, you can play this video game and actually learn something. Right. Okay, so let us carry on. I just want to see there in the chat box, quickly tell me, are any of you new? As I see a name that I haven't seen before, but I don't know if it's just somebody who renamed themselves. And sometimes the names are the owner of the computer, so it's your dad or your mom's name. Okay, Damita, you are new. Welcome. I hope you will greatly enjoy this. So for that, I'm just going to run through a couple of things very quickly, okay? And it's also good for the ones that have done this before to just revisit what the software can do. So you can click on the link in the chat box, and then it'll take you to the screen. You can minimize the screen so that it's half size, and then you can have your Zoom call open on the one side and the coding screen open on the other side, right? If you go to the Zoom control bar, then you can make it go smaller. I can't do that now because I'm sharing my screen, but if you're just watching me, then you can do that. Good, thanks Ayanda for welcoming a new classmate. Okay, so that's basically how you can then see what I do, hear what I do, and you can do it on your own as well. Okay, the next thing is, as you've seen here, there's the lesson, and this is what we're doing. There are the puzzles that we've completed, the green ones, the white ones we still have to do. These are the instructions. So every puzzle has a set of instructions that will tell us what we have to do. This is the play area, and that is where we can see what we are doing. Okay, and this you can make bigger or smaller, so I make it nice and big so you guys can see. Then next to the play area we have the toolbox, and here we have a number of blocks, and these blocks do different things. So they make her, the farmer, do something. Okay, and we use these to put them into the workspace that we have here, and it has to touch the when run block because the when run block is connected to the run button. So what this does is when you click on the run button, this block activates any code that is underneath it. So if we have 20 blocks under here, then we need to have a way to make this start doing what it is supposed to do. And the run button linked to this when run block is the one that does that. If we're not touching that and we hit run, it's going to tell us there's unused code, and that means that we are not connected there, so the code will not work. So we want to make sure that the code is connected. Okay, and then as a last note, whatever we do, we can restart. Second last note, we can start over here. So if I have, for example, a couple of blocks in here and I'm not going to use them, or I want to try again, then I just click on start over, and now this has been cleared. And we can do the same here. If we run this code and we see that the code isn't doing what we want it to do, we can reset this so that the farmer is back at the beginning and we can try again. Okay. Lastly, the workspace is limited to how many blocks we can use, and there will always be one block that is already used because no code will work without this when run block there. So that's the quick run over. The blocks that we use, I will explain them as we're using them. I'm not going to get into them right now. So because this is a review activity, Demeter, you can just watch. I'm going to let the other guys quickly tell me how to solve this problem, and then we will discuss the next one. And there I told you he's got this down. He's already given me the solution there, so let's see if his solution is correct. So he's saying move forward inside while path. So we're putting a while path loop there, and what this is saying is while there's a path ahead, do something. And he says that we need to put a move forward there. So we're telling the farmer, while there is a path, you move forward. When there is no more path, this condition is false. These are condition. This is a conditional repeat. This condition is false if there isn't a path anymore, so then it will start to run the next block of code. Okay, so now he says under that we put a remove one, and we do that because this remove one will remove one of the piles of dirt that we have there. Okay, and then he says we put a turn left under that, so we need to create a situation where our farm is going to come down here again, right? And then we loop everything 3 times, and I want to know from the students that have been here before, what do we call it when we put a loop inside a loop? We'll test the solution now. I just want to know, what do we call a loop inside a loop? A nest. Yes, that is a nested loop. Okay, so now if we run this code again, this is review. So these little black lines that are coming out in front of her looks like a Wi-Fi signal symbol. That is to check that there is a path in front of her. If there isn't a path, the code skips past this loop and starts to do the next. Okay, so I'm going to talk through this. So what we're saying here is while there's a path, do this. Once this is false, do this. So she's moving from here to there. There is a path, so she will move. There is a path, so she will move to here. Now she checks and there isn't a path, so she's the code will start to activate the next block that is after the conditional loop, which is to remove one, because there's only one pile of dirt that we have to remove. Once that is done, then the code will make the farmer turn left now. And the reason why it's happening this way is because code is run and written sequentially. So what we put first will happen first, what we put second will happen second, and what we put third will happen third. Okay, sometimes we can skip things like this one is saying while path ahead move forward. If there is no path, this is false, then this move forward will not happen. Okay, but there's still something happening here. There's still being a check done to see if there is a path. Right, and we're turning left because the farmer is walking this way. So the way you are orientated, this looks like your left, but to the farmer that is moving forward. And this that looks like down to us, to the farmer is a left turn. So we run that one more time, and then we're going to move on to the next puzzle. Okay. Right, so now we are at the next puzzle, and this one is a bit more tricky. So in this one we have the instructions saying flatten all of these piles using as few blocks as possible. We're limited to 10 blocks, so we want to use as few as possible. So now we can try to solve the first problem first. Okay, we first need to identify the main problem. The main problem is there are piles that we need to flatten. The restriction to that problem is that these piles do not have the same amount of the value isn't the same. So this one has a 1, this one has a question mark, so we don't know, and this one has 3. Okay, and our block is only a remove 1. So we need to find a way to make that work. Now the first thing is we need to move this farmer onto the pile before the farmer can start to remove the piles. Okay, so from your side in the chat box, quickly tell me, where do we start with this? Just one block. Don't give me the full solution. Let's build this whole entire piece segment of code together, one block at a time. Okay, so approach this using the workflow that we have discussed. Okay, so D is saying while path ahead, and Ayanda is saying move forward. So in this type of puzzle, this can actually be used sort of as one solution. So I don't mind if you start with a while path loop, because we know that this one and this one, they go hand in hand. Okay, one will not bring any more solution without the other. Okay, so after this, what do we need to do? Okay, while pile under this. Good, thank you for telling me where to put it. And what do we put inside this while pile? Remove 1. Okay, so what this does, when it's on its own, it will remove 1 pile. Now, there is only 1 pile here, but we know that we're going to move or use this again later here. So what we are saying is remove 1, but while there is a pile, repeat this. So loop this. So remove 1, check. If the pile is still there, remove 1 again. Check. If the pile is still there, remove 1 again. Okay, so this one is repeating in that manner. Okay, so what's the next step? Turn left. We have that under this loop. Loop all 3. I think we're getting ahead of ourselves here. We still need to do something. Remember, let's run this code and see where we end at. Not a problem. That's how we learn. So now we are here and we've turned left. There's still something we need to do. I'm going to put another while path here. And then we say move forward in that, because now we need to move from here all the way up there. Yes, move forward inside, we have that. And then we want to turn right. Okay, so in our opinion, we have now created the sequence and the solution that will take our farmer from there, pick up any piles that there might be, and move there, and then turn right to be lined up for the next, yes, for the next pile. Now we can see from this shape, and we can test it first. So before we even carry on, let's test it. Okay, so we've removed one there. She's moving forward, she's turning right. Good. So this sequence is the solution to get the farmer from there, to remove the piles that there might be, and then to get lined up for the next one. Now we can see that there are 2 more times that this has to happen. Okay, but we cannot copy this code 2 more times under here. It will work, but we're limited on the amount of blocks. We have only 10 blocks that we can use, and we've already used 9. So what can we do to make this code run again? Because we know this code is right. We don't have to play with this code anymore. This sequence is perfect. But we need the sequence to happen more than 1 time, and we cannot copy the sequence because we don't have enough blocks left. So what do we do now? Any ideas? Okay, loop 3 times. So where do we put this loop 3 times? Underneath this, or do we loop everything inside this? Okay, so we loop everything inside that, and this can be changed to the number 3. So now we've created a nested loop, and remember when we had this code we were here, so then we said that it has to happen 2 more times, but now that we're looping it, it has to happen 3 times. Okay, so don't get confused by that. Okay, let's run this code and see. And there we go. So that works. I'm going to talk through this just so that we can make sure we understand completely. Okay? So we started off, remember when we are reading code, we start with the first action. So we told the farmer to move forward because the farmer needs to go from there to there. The only way to do that is by moving forward. Then we told the farmer, but we don't just want you to move forward once. We want you to move forward as long as there is a path for you to move on. Okay, so remember, when this condition is true, this will happen. So the moment this isn't true anymore, then the farmer will stop moving and the code will go on to whatever is after that, comes next. Then we said, okay, so you've moved forward until you cannot move anymore. Now we want you to remove 1. But there won't always be only 1 pile to remove, so we're telling you to keep removing 1 as long as you can see there is a pile. So while this condition is true, do this. As soon as this isn't true anymore, the loop will stop being in effect and it will go, the code will go on to whatever is next, and this one is a turn left, right? This is pretty straightforward. It just happens once, and that is to make this farmer to turn to go upwards. Then we say again, while there is a path ahead, move forward. So we know we have to go up there, but we can't just go up there. We need to tell the farmer to do that. We tell them to do that by the move forward block, and we tell him or her how many times to do that by putting this while the path is ahead. So as long as there's a path, she will move forward. So we can see here the path finishes up here. So now she has to turn again in order to have a path in front of her again. So we say turn right. D, is there a way to do this with less blocks? I haven't played. Let's see. What do you guys think? Okay, let's just finish this and then we can see. Okay, so once we're here, we tell the farmer to turn right because the farmer has to come this way again. Now once that has happened, the code will look for whatever is next. If there's nothing, the code will just stop. But there is something here, the bottom of this repeat block. And this is telling the entire code to run 1 more time. And then when it reaches the bottom, it tells the entire code to run 1 more time again. And it will do that until this code here, our sequence, this entire thing is our sequence, will run, or would have ran, 3 times. Okay. So I don't think we have time to dive into less blocks here, D, but you have the link, so over the weekend if you want to play, see if you can find it. Then send me an email showing me that you did find it, if you did. Okay. If I'm just quickly looking at it, I don't really see a way that we can do this shorter than we have done it now. But it's possible. Okay, are we good? Can we move on to puzzle number 13? Oh, come on. Okay. Ayanda, yes. D, yes. Demeter, what do you think? Are you ready? Can we carry on? Are you still following? If you feel lost, don't worry. As soon as we start with Minecraft, we're starting with single blocks again. So it will be easier to catch up once we are in the Minecraft lesson. Okay. I don't see anything there, but let's carry on. Okay, thank you. Right, so this is saying, take a good look at the code below. What will be left at the end of this puzzle? So we have a few options. A says nothing. This code will leave only level ground. B says this code will leave the pile completely untouched. C says this code will leave the holes completely untouched. And D says I don't know. So D is never an option in our classes. We can't ever choose D. So we need to choose something else. What do you guys think? Looking at this code, what is the answer? Okay, D is saying B is the answer. Ayanda is saying A is the answer. Demeter, do you want to try? Just guess, that's also okay. B, right. So, just by looking at this, we know to remove a pile, there needs to be a remove one block. I cannot see a remove one block. So we can already speculate that the pile will not be removed. Okay? So we already know that this A is not possible. There won't be only level ground because the pile will be left. What we then need to determine is the rest of the code sufficient to fill up the holes? Okay? Because then we need to see what's going to happen. If it is going to be a matter of only the pile will be left, or maybe there will be a pile and a hole left, so we need to look at that. So fill one is here, so we know that the holes are going to get filled. So now we only need to track the movement to see whether the farmer will reach all the holes. So here we see move forward while there is a path ahead, so we can already start to think. Yes. So we can already start to think that the farmer is going to move until there's no more space to go, no more path. So she is going to be on top of one of the holes. Then it says fill in one until the hole is full. So if there is a hole, fill it in. Okay, so that's going to work. Then it says turn right. Now after the turn right, it loops back because this loop happens 3 times. So she's going to walk across this way until the path ends. Now she's going to be on top of the pile, but there is no code to make her do anything to the pile, so she won't touch the pile. What is going to happen is she's going to turn right again because the path is now finished. This code won't activate because there isn't a hole. Then it's going to loop one more time, and that's going to make her come down here until the path finishes and then fill that up. So B, in my opinion, is the answer. And this is the moment of truth where we will find out. Okay, so thus far the code has done exactly what we thought it would do. Okay, and there we can see she was on the pile, she did nothing because there is no remove there. Okay. Right, are you ready? Can we move on to Minecraft Ocean Voyage? I think it's Ocean Voyage or Voyage, I don't know. Okay, no problem if you're late, welcome. Okay, we're going to move on, then I'll share the link. Okay, so this is those extras that I told you about. So if you keep the link and you come up here, then you can go and do all the extras. We're not doing that in the lessons, but I will give you the link, and I need to take that away first. Oh, come on. Okay, so we were supposed to choose. When I hit enter to send the link in the chat box, then I selected to be Steve. So it's okay, I will be Steve. I play Minecraft with my son, so I know Minecraft quite well, but the code here doesn't exactly work the same as the game, but we'll get to that when we get there. So here we can see you need supplies for the voyage ahead. Collect the boat from the chest. So what we need to do is we need to obviously get to the chest. So in the chat box, tell me, how do we do that? Okay, there's one move forward already. We can see we have to move forward twice, and we're out of blocks. So 2 move forwards is going to make the man or Steve go forward twice, and there we see the boat has been collected. I told you the first puzzle is going to be easy. Okay, I'm going to replay just because I need to explain this 2 times. So here we can see we have 3 blocks that we can use. We can see Steve has to move 2 blocks. We can see that 1 block is already used by the when run block that is in here. So here we have this run button that is linked to this when run block. Okay. And what that does is it tells the code under this to start working. So if we want to move forward twice, we put it in there 2 times and then it works. Okay, are you all happy? Can I move on to puzzle number 2? If you did come in late, there is a YouTube video with this, so you can go and catch it on YouTube to catch up to where we are now. Go to the Africa Teen Geeks website and it will direct you there. Okay, I'm going to move on. Okay, this time boats are much easier than swimming in open water. Head to the end of the dock to hop aboard. We have 5 blocks. You tell me what to do. You're welcome. You tell me what I need to put in here and I'll do it. This is still very easy, so I'm not going to tell you. You need to help me. D is saying move forward. Oops. Needs to touch. If it doesn't touch, it won't activate. Okay, Ayanda also has a move forward. Then we have a turn right according to D. Then another move forward. I think this is what you guys said. And then what do we need to put? One last more move. So can I run the code? Are you happy with this code? Let's run it. Okay, and Steve is happy. That's why he's jumping up and down. Okay, let's chat on this code quickly. So for those of you that are new, this is actually the perfect lesson to come in while you are new, because we are going from lesson 1 up to lesson 13 in one lesson. This is going to teach you the basics that we learned in lesson 1. So the problem was, how do we get Steve from here to there? The first problem is Steve needs to move 1 block, so we solve that problem by putting 1 move forward. Now Steve is here, we can't move forward anymore, then Steve's going to land in the water and we want to go towards the boat. So we make Steve turn right, and then we do that by saying turn right. We can toggle this to left or right, but we don't want to because he has to turn right. Then we can see if this size here is 1 space, and you can sort of estimate that this will be 2. Okay, these lines are not very clear on here, but that is 2 spaces. So we need to move forward 2 spaces, so for that we say move forward 2 times. And then when we hit run, this block activates all of this code and we are done. Can I move on to puzzle number 3? Okay. Most of you are saying yes, so I think we can go. Alright, so grab the oars and pilot your boat across the open seas to catch the cod. So he already has the oars in his hand and we don't have any blocks to make him get those oars. So when they are saying grab the oars, what they're actually saying is just move the oars that you already have in your hand. It doesn't mean that we need to go and pick up the oars or find them somewhere. They are already there. So to go from here to there, how are we going to do that? Move forward. D says we're doing that 6 times, so we can actually count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times, and I'm asking you whether you think 6 will be enough. What do you guys think? 6 is enough? Let's run it and see. Okay, so good question from D. Must we be on it? So sometimes we need to work on a space that is in front of us. Okay, so if you were doing this in real life, you wouldn't put your boat on top of the cod, because how are you going to cast your fishing rod there? But in this problem, we need to have the boat on top of the cod, and we can see that by checking here. There's still one block that we need to use. So for this, yes, we need to be on top of it, so it's going to be 7 times. There's no way for us to know this beforehand. Okay, so we need to use our powers of reasoning and our powers of trial and error to figure out where we need to end up. If we need to end up right before it, or if we need to end up on top of it. Okay, so this is straightforward. We want to move forward 7 times. We put 7 blocks telling Steve to move forward. Does that make sense? Can I carry on to puzzle number 3? I told you, you'll be able to do puzzle 1 to 6 with your eyes closed, even if you're new. Okay, great. I've got 3 yeses there. I think we can carry on. I see there are only 3 students left anyway. Okay, there we go. Okay. We don't watch the videos during the lessons. If you want to, you can watch them on your own. So now we can see here's a new repeat block. Okay, and I want you to pay attention to this. Repeat until goal. So let's see. Let's feed the cod that we just caught in the previous puzzle to the dolphin. We use a repeat until block to get across the ocean faster. So now we have to move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 again. The goal is to feed the cod to the dolphin. That's right there. We can see it. Okay. So for us to do that, instead of putting these blocks in here 7 times, we can just say repeat until goal. Now the goal is feed that dolphin. So this will repeat the move forward command until the goal has been reached. Okay, we didn't set the goal. This set the goal for us. But when you are creating your own programming, then you are going to be the one that's going to set the goal. But for now, you don't need to worry about that. So we can actually see when we look at the line code, it's saying repeat until goal function. Move forward. Okay, so this is saying the goal function, or the until goal function, we need to move forward until that function has happened. Okay, so let's see. The goal of this is to feed the cod, and we can see that it has to be on top of the dolphin. Are you guys happy? Can we move on to the next one? Okay, this is still very easy. Okay. So now this is why I'm saying this is different than the game. In the real game, you cannot stay underwater that long. You run out of breath. There is a Nautilus shell hidden somewhere. Explore the shipwreck to reach the chest. Okay? Chests are where we leave our things in Minecraft. So they already have the repeat until goal in here. The goal is to reach the chest because we want the Nautilus shell. But the actual goal is not that. The goal that the code has to find the problem, be the solution to, is to reach the chest. So now we can see we've got move forward, repeat until goal. But if we just move forward now, we're going to run into trouble. So we have to do something here. What do we need to do? How do we fix this code? Aha. So the meter is saying turn right, D is saying turn right, but D is also telling me to put this above the move forward. Okay. Ayanda as well, turn right first. So yes, we want to turn right, then we're going to move forward twice. Then this is going to repeat again because we haven't reached the goal, so it'll turn right again. Let's see if we are right. There he's swimming, he turned right, he's swimming, and he's in front of the chest now. Okay, so in the previous problems we needed to be on top of the block where the action needs to happen. For these ones we only need to be in front of. In Minecraft as well, you can't open the chest if you're standing on it. Okay, so let's see. If we turn right here, we're going to face downwards because his orientation is facing this way. Then we're going to move 2 blocks. Then the code will stop. This block here doesn't stop us, it's the code that's finished. So then the code will start to repeat again, and it's going to say turn right again, and then that is going to make him swim until he's in front of this. Okay. If we change this to a turn left, you'll see with the repeat until goal, he's going to swim the whole day. He's not going to stop. Okay, well there he found the solution from the back. Look at that. I didn't even know that'll work. But if you hit the code and the code is wrong, because we are saying repeat until goal, the code will keep repeating until the goal has been met. So if your code won't get him to the chest, the code will keep on going, keep on going, keep on going. Okay. So there we learned something. We saw we can do it around the back as well. I wasn't even aware of that. Can we continue to the last puzzle for the day? Let's go. We don't have a lot of time, so let's see if we can get there. Oh, look at this. So I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to leave you with this. We're not going to do it now. There's the link, copy and paste it, or open it and then copy it from your address bar here and save it somewhere so that you can go and practice this. Find the solution, see if you can do it in less than 10 blocks. Go back to the previous puzzle and look at that one that we did there in 10 blocks if you can make it shorter, and send me an email to show me over the weekend. Okay. For those of you that would like to share, there's my email address again. If you've got questions, you're welcome to ask me those questions on email as well. Okay. But that's it for this Friday. I will see you guys back here on Monday, where we're going to continue with conditionals in Minecraft Voyage Aquatic. Have a great weekend. Follow us on these social media handles and use these hashtags when you post about us on social, and invite your friends. Alright, have a great weekend. Goodbye.